My brother and I loved going on adventures, exploring the great outdoors through camping and hiking. This time we decided to go camping deep into the woods near the waterfall so we could listen to the relaxing sound of water. We hopped into our jeep and packed all the required gear and grabbed some snacks. While we were driving, rain suddenly started. I was worried about the weather, so I suggested going back and waiting for better conditions. But my brother, who was driving, thought it would be more exciting and give us a different experience. Even though I had a bad feeling, but we still went into the woods and drove off-road for a long time. We couldn't set up our tent near the waterfall because it was all muddy there, so we found a dry spot. We quickly set up our tent and settled in, munching on snacks. The rain created a peaceful atmosphere. Suddenly, we heard something scratching against the tent. I thought it was a small animal or the wind rustling leaves, but my brother claimed nothing was touching our tent. The scratching stopped only to be replaced by the sound of footsteps from outside on our right. They sounded human. My brother bravely shouted, "Hey, who's there?" No response. The sound abruptly stopped. Then something massive crashed into our tent, as if a heavy log fell upon it. Although the forest was not known for any dangerous animals, but we still took precautions and carried a baseball bat and a machete for our protection. With adrenaline pumping, we unzipped the tent, holding our flashlights. I had the machete and my brother gripped the baseball bat tightly. We scanned the surroundings, but nothing was there. It was clear that someone or something wanted us to go out of the tent. We decided to stay inside. Footsteps returned, this time from our left, getting closer and closer. It got so close that we heard the sound of heavy breathing. Angrily, I shouted, "Who the hell are you? If I caught you, you will regret." In response, we heard a terrifying growling howl. We remembered having a portable speaker, so we turned it on and played loud music at maximum volume and ran towards our jeep. We reached our jeep, finally feeling safe. Leaving our tent, we drove straight to a nearby hotel. Throughout the night, we discussed the eerie event and the potential dangers hiding in those woods. At sunrise, we gathered the courage to grab our things, including the tent. Surprisingly, nothing was stolen. Even my iPad remained untouched. However, on our way back, we found a bottle of liquor and half-eaten raw deer near our tent. Strangely, we hadn't bought any liquor. Feeling uneasy, we left immediately. My girlfriend and I went for a camping trip this summer. We hiked along the trail and set up our camp in the deep woods on a hill. We cooked and ate some chicken before going to sleep in our tent. Later that night, around 2 a.m., my girlfriend heard strange noises outside our tent. It scared my girlfriend and she woke me up. I tried to calm her down, saying it might be a small animal like coyote or fox attracted by the food smell. But the noises continued for about 15 to 20 minutes and the thing kept going around our tent. I opened the tent a little and saw a person-like figure standing still and staring at us. We got really scared. It was dark, so we couldn't see it properly. But it looked like human and stood there staring at our tent for almost 30 minutes. I decided to go out and see what is it. Also grabbed my machete just in case. I unzipped the tent and turned on my flashlight. That's when I saw a woman. I said, "Hey, are you okay?" She didn't react at all. She stood there quietly staring. Suddenly, she screamed and her mouth was twice as big as a normal person's. At that moment, we thought we are going to die. but she ran into the forest. We were terrified. Since the road was far, we immediately made a fire for safety and stayed up all night, with me holding the machete. The woman didn't come back, probably because of the fire. When the sun came up, we left right away and managed to get to the safety. Me and my friends went for camping in the woods last summer. We wanted an adventure, so we went off the usual path to find our secret spot. We drove further deep into the woods and found one nice site. We parked the jeep and began to set our tent, set the fire and chairs to stay for the night. It was already 7 pm and sun started to set. By the time we finished setting up everything, it was all dark. I went to the car and pulled out hot dogs for us to cook over the fire. While cooking hot dogs, we heard a scream. It was a woman's voice, filled with terror, pleading for help. The chilling cries continued, growing more desperate. And then we heard the loudest, horrifying scream, which was abruptly cut off mid-scream. We looked at each other in pure horror. We were scared. We knew something terrible had happened nearby. We immediately packed our things into the car, shoving the tent into the back of the jeep and closed the doors. We started driving back to the road. I tried to call for help, but there was no signal. It felt like we were all alone in that terrifying place. Finally, I managed to get through to someone on phone. I explained the horrifying situation and they promised to send help. Time was ticking and we needed to get to the safety. It took us twice long to reach to the road because we couldn't see anything. At last we reached the road, unsure whether to wait or keep going. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the forest. He was wearing a black cloak and dragged something in heavy sheet behind him. His head was down, laying almost limp as he walked. He looked in our direction when we heard the police sirens blaring. The figure turned his head and ran back into the woods. The authorities searched the area and discovered a shocking truth: the remains of a 34-year-old woman. We were left with unanswered questions, unsure if the mysterious figure was ever caught.